Hey everyone, this is Xanthi and welcome to my channel In Two Pieces. Now today I'm going to be talking about competitive pieces. Now, probably like a lot of you, I watched the World's Championship in Spain in September, and I thought it might be a good opportunity to use the puzzles they used in the qualifiers as practice speed puzzling for myself. So in the qualifiers, they used already released puzzles, and it turned out that I actually owned everyone but one, and that's including the pairs and the solo qualifying puzzles. So I thought, well, that's a big stack of puzzles that I can use to practice with. And by practice, I mean to practice for the Australian Nationals, which is coming up very soon, right at the end of November. And it's over 2 days, and this will be my second Nationals. Now, I am what I would call a very average speed puzzler. I am nowhere near in the ranking, but I've been speed puzzling for quite a few years now, and I have improved over time. I do practice now and then, and I enjoy it, but I don't do it in the thought that I'm really have a chance at ranking. I just do it for the fun of it, really. So I have got my laptop here with some notes because there's quite a few things to go through. Now, in the solo qualifiers, everyone had an hour and a half to complete the puzzle, and the top 85 of each round then got into the semi-finals. Now, there was the country rule, so there was a few other placings after the 85th, but just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to take the first 85 times and figure out whether I would have made it through to the semi-finals. Because what's interesting is that for the first time in the Australian Nationals, for the solo race, we have a qualifier. And previously, we've never had a qualifier. It was just one race, and that was it. But I think last year there was over 300 people racing in the solo, which was, I think, quite difficult to manage. So now they've got qualifiers. So I think there will be like 50% of people in each race will go into the final. How many placings that is, I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, so I thought this is a good opportunity to really step up my game. Because one thing I noticed about going to the Australian Nationals in compared to doing the state competition is that the competition is much more fierce. There's much more really quick people who actually compete in that. So there is a chance I will not get into the final for the solos. If that happens, that's fine, because I'm there to enjoy myself, see some online friends, puzzle friends, and also visit family while I'm there, and just basically soak up the atmosphere. But anyway, enough blather from me. Let's get down to it. So in the first round, round A, that they had a choice of two puzzles. So the competitors in Worlds could pick one of the two. And that in itself is a skill, being able to look at it and decide which one do you think is harder. Have you done one of them? Have you done both of them? Do you remember, how well you did on either one of them? So an extra element of jeopardy. And I actually kind of like that. So in the first round, we had Lake Como and all the desserts. And the dessert is part of the circle of colors. It's a round one, very colorful, and the Lake Como is pretty much your typical, well, what I would call your typical sort of landscape photography image. So now, I had done both of them previously. The Lake Como one I did a year ago once, And the desserts I did back in May this year once. And I think it would have been a bit of a tough call which one I would have chosen, because in my opinion, neither one of them are particularly easy. Particularly easy. Um, I think a lot of people might have been drawn to doing the desserts because it's nice and colorful. But from experience of having done both of these, I would have gone with the Lake Como. Despite the fact that I actually find doing buildings incredibly difficult. I don't know what it is about it. And then, yeah, you got the blue sky, but there's different colors in it. And you got the blue water, but again, there's a different texture there. There is all that greenery, which to me is, kind of difficult. There is different shades of it. But from what I remember, I really got sort of bogged down with the buildings with this one. But I would have picked it over the desserts one. And the reason being is that it's a bit of an unusual round puzzle, because most of them are concentric in that the image sort of goes from the middle out in a circular pattern. Well, this one isn't. This one sort of is basically straight across, like a normal puzzle, but the pieces are concentric. Now, I've heard people say that the concentric image they find that quite difficult to get their head around. But I actually find the fact that this is basically a very sort of flat left to right, up and down image, but the pieces being concentric, it really messes with my brain. And so I actually find this harder than it looks. So yeah, I think I would have picked the Como. But to be honest, if I was faced with both of these, I wouldn't have been happy with either one of them. But yeah, so anyway, I did them again for the purpose of this video. And my time for the Lake Como one was 1 hour, 23 minutes and 55 seconds, which is not great in a competition sense. For me, it's not bad. It's not bad. For the desserts, I did it in 1 hour, 28 minutes and 36 seconds. So there wasn't a huge difference in how long they took me between the two, but I would have felt more comfortable doing Lake Como. So in Worlds, the last to qualify in this round finished in 1 hour, 9 minutes and 53 seconds. So there was 164 competitors. I would have come 109th. And of course, that meant that I would not have qualified. I would not even have come close to qualifying, which I really am not surprised. So yeah, that was the first round. So with the second round of the qualifiers for the solo, the choices were New York postcard or the candies, which is the round one, again in the circle of colors. Now, I think whoever got this round was extremely lucky, because I like both of these puzzles. And I think even though I do like the candies, I would have picked the New York postcard, because this is actually a fairly easy puzzle to do. I think many people have done it over and over. It's a good puzzle, but I don't think it should have been in this year's World. And the reason I say that is because it was used before. I don't mind that these were like not new designs, that they were already used, but I do mind the fact that they've been used in Worlds before. I think that shouldn't have happened. I also don't think it should have been included, because it is a fairly easy puzzle. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. Love doing it. I've done it over and over, and I never get sick of it. But I don't think it was hard enough for world level competition. So anyway, again, like with New York postcard, I've done it twice before. I did it in December last year and January last year on my own. And I did it once as a pair with my partner Marcus in December last year in the Australian Nationals. So yes, this was the pairs competition we had. So I redid it again, both of them, and my time for the New York one was 57 minutes and 51. Now, it is pretty rare that I would go under an hour, but like I said, I've done this before, and it's a fairly easy puzzle. Now, for the candies, well, I know a lot of people don't like the candies because it's got this edge on the side, which is like a blue plate. I don't know, but it's a repeat pattern, and a lot of people struggle with that. But for some reason, I just didn't really have that much trouble with it. I don't know. I noticed a lot of sort of little nuances with it. I also found that the actual image itself, it had like very distinct lines. It had some bright colors and the patterns, so you could very quickly work out and where things went and orientate yourself. Despite it being a concentric round puzzle, I actually found it not too bad. So my time with the candies was 1 hour and 16 minutes on the dot. So in this round, the last person to qualify their time was 55 minutes and 26 seconds. I would have come 91st out of 167, and I would not have qualified. But considering I did New York in about 57 minutes and the last person, to get in was at 55 minutes, I wasn't that far off the mark. So I was quite happy with that. I would have been very happy to get that round. So on to the next one. Right. So in this round, the third round, we have Evening in Pisa, this one, or another circle of colors, or ocean. Okay, now I have done the Pisa one twice before, back in February, and the ocean one I have done once before back in June. So my time with the Pisa was 1 hour, 9 minutes and 58 seconds. And my time with the ocean was 1 hour, 20 minutes and 23 seconds. I would have chosen the Pisa one because having done both of them before, I knew that the ocean one would have been difficult. Again, this sort of, I found that these little fish, the orange and the yellow fish, because they repeated, that slowed me down quite a lot. There's a lot of little areas to do, and I didn't find this as easy as I would have found the Pisa one. Now, I do tend to struggle with buildings, like I said, but oddly enough, I just found that there was so many nice bright colors and things going on that I didn't struggle that much. Even the greenery at the top, I didn't struggle too much. I did, of course, did the Pisa, the tower on its own. Last, because all those repeat arches were really difficult. But having done this one before, I just found that even that section went in quite quickly. So given my time, I would have come 71st out of 169, and that meant I would have qualified. So that is exciting. So I would have picked correctly and theoretically I would have qualified, so I would have been thrilled with that. So the next round, round D, we have Excalibur. Oh boy. Excalibur I have done once before in May. The other choice was astrology, another circle of colors, round one. I have done this one once before, back in June. Now, my choice of which one to do would have been tough in this round. I didn't find either one of them particularly easy to do. So just excuse me while I just check my notes here. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I might have, hopefully, maybe I would have picked the astrology. It's colorful. It's got, like a bit of a gradient happening. So you could be a bit more methodical, I guess, doing it. Of course, doing a round puzzle, it takes up more space on your table, gets a bit more awkward. You have to, I find I have to stand up and lean over a few more times to reach the bits further away, whereas the rectangular ones, it's right in front of you. It's a bit easier to deal with. But with the Excalibur, it is way harder than it looks. I remember the first time I did it, I thought, oh, this can't be that bad. You've got like some different colors, and you got this bit here that stands out, and this shouldn't be that bad. Well, it is that bad. There's a lot of dark areas. There's fur. There's foliage. It's a beautiful puzzle. I do like the image, don't get me wrong, but it's not an easy one to do. So my time for Excalibur was 1 hour, 32 minutes and 1 second. So I would not have finished it in the time given. I would have just missed out on finishing it, which would have annoyed me to no end. The astrology I did in 1 hour, 20 minutes and 23 seconds. I think, yeah, I would have picked that one, and it would have been the smarter choice in this instance. I don't remember what I did the first time I did this puzzle, but this time, for the purpose of this video, I actually found it easier to concentrate on the actual like symbols, not the symbols, but the images, the little pictures within, and then work around them. So yes, the last to qualify in round D for this one was 1 hour and 14 minutes and 27 seconds. And I would have not have qualified. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, so not looking good for me. So round E. So we have Scandinavian Ideal, and I had not done this one before. And it doesn't look easy, and quite frankly, I didn't find it easy. The other one was from another round one, but it was from the Little Sun range, and this one's called Feel. Now, I've heard from people saying that they found the Scandi one was easier to do than this one, and the Feel one is harder than it looks. Well, it is hard. Don't get me wrong, Feel is hard. But it's more my kind of puzzle. I don't really like super busy. I struggle more with super busy, and I struggle more with photographic rather than illustration. And yeah, sure, there was a lot of like black and color blocks and to deal with. But then on the other hand, with the Scandi one, you got the green grass, you got all that blue sky and the blue mountains, and you've got these horrible I think they're cherry blossoms. They look like cherry blossoms. Anyway, you got those to deal with. And of course, I finished with the pink flowers because that for me was the hardest. And I also had trouble with the bottom right corner of the border, getting that in together. I sort of messed that up. So I ended up with the Scandi one, 1 hour 27 minutes and 4 seconds. With feel, I did it in 1 hour 29 minutes and 51 seconds. So this one did take longer, despite the fact that I liked it better than the other one. But there really wasn't much in it. There was, just a few minutes. So I don't think it would have made that much a difference, really, which one I picked. If I was in this round, I wouldn't have been thrilled because both of these look hard. So, yeah, so there was 170 people participating in this race. I would have come 122nd, so obviously I would not have qualified. Surprise, surprise. So, on to the last round for the solo qualifiers, round F. So the choices were garden visitors, this one here, or animals, which again is a circle of colors, round puzzle. Now, if I had gotten this round, I would have been thrilled because I think out of all the circle of colors, this one is probably the easiest and the most fun to do. You've got the color gradient, you've got all these cute animals. Yeah, I've done this one several times. In fact, I've done this one 3 times, and I have enjoyed it. The garden one, I think I had done it only once before. So with these ones, let me see what my times were. So my time for the garden one was 1 hour, 15 minutes and 55 seconds, which is quite good for me. I really like it, but I didn't find it that easy because there were some repeating colors, and also I ended up doing the hedgehog last. There were bright pinks and greens and blues that stood out, so that helped. And I started with those, as well as the black. I found down there that was a good one to start with. But yeah, with the animals, I just did it by color, basically. So yeah. 1 hour 15:55 for the gardens. For the animals, I did it in 57 minutes and 22 seconds. Again, it's pretty rare for me to get under an hour, so I was quite thrilled with that. So I would have come 66th out of 159 competitors, and I would have qualified. And needless to say, I would have picked the animals one to do. Because it was the easiest. Now, when I say that, oh, I would have come this, I would have qualified or not qualified, I do understand that doing speed running these at home is different to, being in a big arena with lots of people and spectators and noise, and from what we saw, heat. So like the pressure is greater than being in your comfortable home, maybe with some air conditioning, some good lighting that you might not have had there, and without distractions. So, this is all speculation. I realize that, different factors, how you feel on the day, mentally, physically can affect how well you do. It's really hard to predict. But one thing I would say from experiencing nationals where I sat there with over 300 people doing one race is that it was extremely stressful. There was a lot of pressure that I think I just put on myself for some stupid reason. But the puzzle we had for the solo, it was a puzzle that I had done previously, and I had a solo and in pairs, at home and at a state competition. So I was familiar with the puzzle. It was a very difficult puzzle, very busy. But I found just the adrenaline kicked in at nationals And I think I shaved off something ridiculous, like, I don't know, 17 minutes or something off my time compared to doing it at home. At home, I'm racing and I'm trying to be fast, but I just find that I'm a little bit too comfortable, I think. And I think being around that atmosphere where you kind of realize, yeah, you can see other people and you can see how fast they're going, and that eggs me on to go faster. And I actually think I do better in a competition environment rather than just trying to speed run something at home. So swings and roundabouts, who knows? It was fun just to see, where I'd go. When I watch Worlds, I always joke to my, teammates that, oh, if I was there and I was doing that, I would have been knocked out in the first round. And this kind of proved that probably I would have. I think there was only two that I would have actually had qualified to go into the semi-finals. So my chances weren't that great. It was no surprise, and that's fine. I love to go to Worlds. Possibly not in Spain though. Maybe if it was somewhere else, and if they, had proper air conditioning. But anyway, so that was my attempt at all the Worlds qualifiers solos. Now, because I had all but one of the puzzles for the pairs qualifiers, I grabbed my partner in life and in speed puzzling, Marcus, and got him over a period of time to do or redo all but one of the puzzles from the qualifiers. I say all but one because there's one that I don't have. So we sat down and we did it, and I, filmed it. So what I will do is that I'll come back with all those puzzles, all our results from doing those puzzles as a pair, and I will have him with me, and I'll get his thoughts on the puzzles and what he thought of them. So stick around for that, and I'll be back soon. And I'm back, and I have Marcus with me. And back to talk about the pairs puzzles that were done in the World's qualifiers. So Marcus and I went through them and did almost all of them and noted our times. But before I get on to that, there is something to spot in the time lapses of the solos that I just showed. If you look really closely in one of them, you will see there's a great big leaf stuck in the back of my head. And you often make fun of me because I'm poking around in the bushes in the back there, the back courtyard, and I didn't notice. And when I went to do my practice, my speed run, I looked back on the footage, and yeah, there's a big leaf in the back of my head on one of them. But see if you go back and find out which one it was on. But anyway, so let's move on to the pairs qualifiers. I've got my notes here, so I'll be looking over here a few times. So all the competitors had only 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete their puzzle. Again, the top 85 went through to the semi-finals, but then there's a few others that who got through the country rule. But just for simplicity, again, we're just going to go with the top 85. So for round one, the choices were student days. Marcus, if you want to grab that one. Or global style icon, which was the round Barbie one. Now, I don't actually own the global style icon one. I don't think it's been released here in Australia yet. I think it did pop up on Amazon, but I'm not a big Barbie fan, so it wasn't high on my list to get. So we didn't do that one. I am wondering, though, which one I would have chosen between the two. I think neither one of them looked particularly easy, but I think I would have gone maybe with student days. Now, with student days, I've never done it before. Marcus has never done it before, and it looked hard. Now, on our time, we finished it in 1 hour, 8 minutes and 7 seconds. And the last person to qualify in this round at Worlds did it in the pairs did it in 59 minutes and 6 seconds. So that would have put us at 108th out of 161, and it would have meant that we had not qualified. So, what did you think of this puzzle?
The lack of very clear line boundaries kind of sometimes made it a bit hard. So also there are a lot of repeated colors in like the orangey brown shades.
Yeah,
So
it
it was hard to differentiate where certain things went.
Yeah, it was quite busy, and with the repeat colors, it was difficult to sort of say, you do this section, I do that section, and we ended up just basically crossing hands a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we're trying to do this one. I do like it though. I like the style of the art, but yeah, for a pairs puzzle, even like doing it solo, I think it'd be quite difficult. So there was no big surprises on that one. Okay, with round B, the choices were cats on the shelf or the sloth selfie. Yeah, the sloth selfie there, and the cats.
Oh, yeah.
Cats on the shelf. Now, I think a lot of people in this race chose the cats. I don't know if anyone chose the sloth, but we would have definitely picked the cats, wouldn't we? Yeah.
By default, we would have done cats anyway.
Yeah, I have done the cats once before, at least once before, but solo. And you've never done it, and neither one of us had done the sloth selfie. Now, our time with the cats was 1 hour, 7 minutes and 14 seconds. And our time, oddly enough, it wasn't that much more. Our time with the sloths was 1 hour, 11 minutes and 32 seconds. So it wasn't a big difference, which really surprised me. But mind you, you got like foliage and flowers and fur on that one.
A lot of the greenery and the fur slowed us down. I mean, some of the cats' faces and things like the butterflies, etc., were okay, and like I think the pots and the kettle, etc. But like with some of the multiple tabbies, etc., it was very hard to differentiate between one cat and the other at times.
Yeah, and I think this speaks for itself. The sloth one, all that fur, all that green, and the same, not many different colors. Like I think
the sloths themselves basically have the same face, more or less, like the same patterns and everything, which means you can't say, oh, this is the brown sloth, this is the grey sloth.
Yeah, and I think you started off by doing the blue butterflies, which is probably the easiest
the butterflies, and then trying to work, especially the bright green leaves at the top, and gave me a little bit of structure. I
think I even struggled just getting the border done. Because Marcus and I, we sort of have this pattern where he will puzzle upside down, I would puzzle the right way up, and I would do the borders while he sort of gets onto sorting and working on the inside of the puzzle. So yes, let's see. The last person to qualify did it in 45, well, the last pair did it in 45 minutes and 17 seconds. So we would have come 131st out of 163 competitors. So that meant that we would have not qualified. And honestly, I'm not terribly surprised by that. So on to round C. So the choices were lupins or the butterfly. And honestly, if we were faced with this,
we would have flipped the table and walked out.
Really, neither one of them screamed easy. So I know the lupins has a bit of a reputation because it was used in the previous Worlds and I think in a solo, if I remember right. But anyway, neither one of them looked easy. I was warned with the butterfly that it's harder than it looks. I mean, it doesn't look easy, but it's still, yeah. So with the butterfly, so both of these, we did it for the first time, and we did not complete either one of them in the 1 hour and 15 minutes time frame. With the butterfly, we put in 341 pieces in. With the lupins, we put 435. So we came close with the lupins, but we just could not get it, get it done in time. And the curious thing about the lupins was that it had so much puzzle dust, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had to pause, and Marcus had to go and get
Yeah, I tend to have sometimes a bit of an allergic reaction. It just triggers my allergies, and I had to very early on. I got up and went and got a mask.
Yeah.
Because it was the sloth one. I think I started with the mask right from the get go because that had a bit of puzzle dust as well. This one we had to pause it at a midpoint, and
this had more. This had the most puzzle dust.
and I
this
had to
one.
go get a mask on it and take antihistamine.
Yes, this one was the worst. Yeah, and Marcus basically got the easy stuff, which is the sky, and I did the border, and I did all these bits down here and over here, and it was just a nightmare. So it's not a fun puzzle. Certainly not something I would want to do solo. So anyway, the last pair to qualify in that round did it in 1 hour, 5 minutes and 56 seconds. We would have come 109th out of 157, and we would have not qualified. So again, absolutely no surprises there. That was a hard ask. So round D, we had the choices of loving longhorns or the round stitch puzzle. Now, with the longhorns, neither one of us had done it before. I don't have a time lapse for it. Unfortunately, it didn't. I tried to do a time lapse and it failed. So, now with the stitch, we have done it once before, and I'll just get to that. But with our time with the longhorns was 1 hour, 5 minutes and 17 seconds. And it wasn't easy, was it?
The longhorns?
Yeah, you put that down.
It wasn't terrible. I mean, out of the ones we did, I liked it more than the others. But yeah, the greenery here, the blue flowers across the bottom, and the big swathe of brown.
I was doing the longhorns, and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I think I did a lot of the sky, and actually the sky wasn't as. It's rare. It tells you a lot when the sky is the easiest part of the puzzle.
Yeah. So with the stitch one, we had done it as a pairs in the Australian Jigsaw Puzzle Association online race for pairs, and it was so hard. Like I did the border, and I think you worked on the background of it.
Yeah.
And then it was just all this blue and all this pink and a bit of white, bit of black.
Yeah, and
it's just a mess.
Within the actual heart outlines, like some of these shapes are very repeated, etc. So it was very, very hard.
It was hard.
There was not a lot of detail within because there's this pastel style and everything. Yeah, it was very hard to kind of get very clear boundary lines on where things would go.
So it was so hard that I couldn't bring myself to do it again and make Marcus do it again. So the time that I'm giving you is just the time that we had while we were we did it that one time, and we took 1 hour, 36 minutes and 33 seconds. Believe it or not, our time was pretty good at that race. And there was people who took a lot longer than us. Yeah. But given in this instance where you would only have had 1 hour and 15 minutes, that one was not a good choice. Faced with this, I would, even though I hadn't done the longhorns before, I would have chosen the longhorns just because I have done the stitch one and it was a nightmare. So I would have taken my chances with one that I've never done before. So the last to qualify in that round to the pair they did it in 1 hour, 1 minute and 18 seconds. So out of the 170 pairs that were racing, we would have come 90th, and that meant that we would have not qualified. So we would not have qualified in any of these rounds. And honestly, that doesn't surprise me Marcus and I, we're pretty decent working together as a pair, but in a world's level competition, I don't think, you know, we're up to that speed. So there you have it. So Marcus and I will be competing at the Australian Nationals later on in late November. And yeah, 250, 500 piece Ravensburgers that we have to do. And we just found out that we will be told in which order we're going to be doing them, which is interesting because before in other, I think in the American ones,
you get that choice. You can decide which one you want to
yeah,
start with. You can evaluate which
yeah,
you think will be the easier of the two to do.
yeah, so that's interesting. So we're going to be told which way. So they are Ravensburgers. Maybe we've done them together, or maybe at least
Fingers
I
crossed.
have done it. So it does help. One thing I noticed in, you know, with my solos that I've already covered here, it seems that the rounds that I would have qualified were ones where I had done the puzzle before, but not only that, but done it up to about 3 times. So if I've done a puzzle multiple times, I would have a chance of getting through to the semifinals. But what are your chances? You know, it's the luck of the draw. So I think we are going to be as ready as we're ever going to be to do those races coming up.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to do 2 500s as a pair back to back, because that's something we haven't done, and that takes a fair bit of stamina. And I think we worked out to finish both of them in time, we would have to finish them in 1 hour and 15
Oh yeah,
minutes.
that's the maximum per puzzle. I mean, you
Mm.
could get lucky and have one of them like, okay, we've done this before. We know we can knock it off in say 50 minutes,
Yeah.
which gives you more time for the second one.
Yeah.
But you just don't know what we're gonna get. So
Yeah. I think our fastest has been like about 47 minutes or something like
yeah,
that,
somewhere in that
which was
ballpark.
good.
Yeah.
It really depends on what we get, you know. If something that's quite difficult, like if we get student Tays, we're in trouble. But if we get
the lupins and the butterfly,
we're walking out. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you are going to nationals, please look out for Marcus or I. We'll probably be wearing bright orange t-shirts, but you know what my face looks like, so just come up and say hello, and we hope we have a lot of fun. So we'll see you then. See ya.
See ya.